And done. Finally, I can put this franchise to rest. I've done all the movies and all the spin-offs. There is nothing left for me to talk. No, it can't be. No! I guess it's finally time to talk about this waste of a spin-off film. Planes, the 2013 Pixar film set in the Cars universe. Wait, no, that's not right. Planes, the not Pixar film that's still set in the Cars universe and written by the head of Pixar, who also happens to be the director of Cars. Created by the extinct Disney direct-to-DVD animation studios, but still released in theaters. Yeah, that movie, Planes. Usually when I start out videos about movies I don't like, I say something like, oh, this is a movie that doesn't need to exist. This is a movie that's only here for the money. This is a movie that has taken up way too much of my time, therefore I am personally offended by it. But I can't really stress enough that Planes does not need to exist. It is completely and utterly useless and only exists because the former CEO of Pixar had two fetishes. But I think a really boring and stupid movie like this deserves to be dissected so that mediocrity like this can be identified for what it is. Dusty the crop-hopping plane decides he wants to race like the racing planes. Unfortunately, he is afraid of heights. He gets over his fear and races the planes and wins. There you go. That's the plot. I honestly don't know how else to get across just how basic, one-dimensional, and just boring this film is other than presenting it to you like that. This movie doesn't even try to flip the script on this predictable plot by throwing in something unexpected at the end like Monsters University. It doesn't have an interesting enough world or compelling enough stakes to justify not breaking the mold like A New Hope. It is simple, dry, and worthless of everything. The only thing the movie is not worthless for is that it somehow was able to sneak past a dead orphan joke within the first 10 minutes of the film.
Oh my gosh! What? The orphanage! Kids, fly out of the way!
Yes, this is the family-friendly Disney company that everyone loves. I'm sure there isn't anything else in this film that's problematic.
Did you say El Chupacabra or El Cuckoo Cabra?
On a real note though, I don't mean to be cinema sins here, but I kid you not, this movie has every single movie cliche in the book, and it is painful. We've got the young hero fantasizes during a boring job cliche, one-dimensional bullies bully the hero for cheap sympathy cliche, quite literally word for word, I want to prove to everyone that I was born for more cliche, the antagonist is scared of the new and talented protagonist cliche, and what probably infuriated me the most when watching this, there's the we as the writers don't know how to write a male and female relationship without having them catch feelings for each other within the first 2 seconds of them meeting cliche.
We will be recycled as tractors.
I believe in recycling.
It honestly felt like it was just trying to be a basic film with all the cliches it had, instead of doing what would have been a lot more profound and cool, which is flipping the script on this dull formula. What if Dusty learns when he travels the world that crop dusting is for him? It'd have a similar message to Monsters University. Sorry, I keep bringing up that film because I recently made a video about it. You should check it out, by the way. Where Dusty, in The Loss of the Race, learns that racing after his dream of racing is unrealistic. Sure, it wouldn't have been the underdog miracle story that everyone loves seeing, but at least it wouldn't be so boring and just filled with the same stuff that we've seen over and over and over again. Speaking of that, how absolutely lifeless and devoid of any creativity do you have to be to make a movie about cars racing, then make a spin-off set in the same universe about planes racing? When's Boats, the sailboat racing movie, gonna come out? What about Trains, the movie where Amtrak and the Oriental Express finally dish it out? It could not be more obvious that this film is just out to make a quick buck. And that fact is not more plain as day than when you look at the writing of our main character, Dusty. So after receiving backlash from critics about how McQueen in the first and second Cars movies was a narcissistic, uninviting piece of garbage to every single character, you'd assume that the spin-off movie created by the same dude would account for that by making the main character of the movie someone who's not a delusional, egotistical a-hole who illogically blames everyone for his actions. Well, you'd assume wrong because Dusty is super dumb. Dusty is certainly not as guilty as McQueen is over the course of the Cars sequels, but when you take a look at all the drama he caused and how little he changed as a character over the course of the film, it really doesn't make him look good. The movie expects us to sympathize and root for him pretty early on, even though all we've seen him do is disrespect his elders, including when he made fun of this veteran.
He's a war hero. He's an old crankshaft.
What a respectable and nice main character. I certainly do want to root for his victory, knowing how nice he is to his fellow veterans. On top of this, his motivations are just about as vague as the world building of Frozen 2.
Maybe, just maybe, I can do more than what I was built for.
This is literally all we get in regards as to why he wants to race in the Wings Against the Globe rally. dude, I'm so invested in this character. I really hope he wins. Later in the movie, right before the race over the Himalayas, Dusty is told by the love interest cliche that if he follows the train tracks, he can get around flying high. So that's exactly what he does, but uh-oh, the valley closes in and Dusty is trapped in the valley now. So Dusty, being the stupid plane that he is, flies directly into the train tunnel. What's so miraculous about this isn't that he was able to fit into the tunnel, it isn't that he didn't die from the oncoming train, no, it's that when he got first place for pulling off this maneuver, he wasn't disqualified, because I guess this is perfectly legal in the plane racing rules. Now you would expect that since Dusty only made this maneuver because he was given advice by another plane to follow the train tracks, he'd maybe thank her considering he got first place. Well, you'd expect wrong because Dusty gets mad at her. I guess you could say he was sorta justified on this, but like, bro, you got rewarded because of something she told you to do. Just take the W and move on, bro. He even gets mad at the veteran plane skipper when he finds out that he's not as much of a veteran as he claimed to be. Yeah, he actually got mad at him before the final race for this. I'm sorry, but like, why does this matter? If you're upset that he isn't the war hero you thought he was and you wouldn't have gone to him in the first place for the pointers if it weren't for the false stories he told you about the war, I guess I would be able to understand that if you were actually taking his advice to heart, but you aren't. You refuse to take off your dusters until someone else told you, and you refuse to fly high until the end of the movie. And it's not like you learned anything that made you realize you had to do it, you just ignored him. Why are you mad at this dude for lying about his past when you don't even have enough respect to listen to him? This extra plot point of Skipper only having served in one battle doesn't really have a good payoff or reason for the matter of Dusty's races. It all just kind of serves as fluff to fill up a chunk of time before the finale. As much as I give Dusty flack for not listening to his elder, it's not all Dusty's fault that he didn't fly high. I mean, he's been rewarded for flying low all throughout the movie. For doing it, he's gathered up a fan base following his underdog story, and he literally won the Himalayas race because of it. Not to mention that he's more comfortable flying low anyways. Every scene points to the idea that Dusty flying low is good. Not getting over your fears is good. Comfortability is good. The reason he flew high at the end of the last race isn't because he learned something insightful that made him get over his fear. It's because the movie needed a believable way to make this douchebag beat this obviously faster plane. This needed to happen, even if it makes no sense for his character, because he needs to win so that this movie fits into the useless formula it is conforming to and deliver yet another Disney trademark happy ending. Oh wait, this isn't the ending. The actual ending is when Skipper takes Dusty to the airbase he served at. Why? I don't know, they probably wanted to give a proper conclusion to Skipper's character? Gee, would have been nice if you did that with Dusty. This movie doesn't make me want to tear my eyes out like Cars 3, but it certainly has a similar sentiment to it. Both McQueen and Dusty don't learn a damn thing by the end of the movie, just so that the window of possibility for a sequel remains open. Cars 3 made me want to shriek at the top of my lungs because it completely failed at delivering the obvious message that was right in front of their faces the whole time. This movie just didn't really have a message. So it isn't like awful, but gosh, it's so dry and unimaginative in the realm of hero's journey films and just films in general. None of the characters, whether they were important or unimportant, were unique, so I'm certainly not looking forward to seeing them in Cars on the Road later this year. But until then, you should subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the high quality content I make. I'll see ya in Prop Wash Junction.